Hello. Welcome. I started off my last video by like swearing a lot and I didn't like that. My mom will get very angry at me, so now I'm gonna be very happy when we start the recording. So we did a U function before. Will look something like this, right? Void function callable from blueprint. Right? So by declaring it a U function, and then in the U function put in this blueprint callable, we can now call this function from blueprint. Great. But how does we do other way around? How do we call a blueprint function from C++? So I want to sort of... Why is my camera gray? So I want to have like on my camera head. Maybe I'll have want to have a function or something where it spawns a particle effect or plays a sound or something when he starts aggroing. How does that work? Well, the thing is that there is really no way, no sane way to get functions in Blueprint from C++. It's kind of a one-way communication where sort of... Hold on, where's Paint? Why do I have so much stuff open? Just close a bunch of shit here. I don't know what that was. Out of the Discord. Just close that. Okay. It's got... Oh god, it's so bright. Okay. So it's kind of a one-way communication in that way, where Blueprint will always be able to see things declared in C++. So Blueprint can call C++ functions very easily. However, the same thing cannot be said the other way around. You cannot declare a function or make a class or really do anything in Blueprint that C++ can see. So the communication between the other way around is kind of a little bit more annoying. So if you make a class in C++, Blueprint can see it, it can spawn it, it can inherit from it, whatever. But if you make a class in Blueprint, then it's only in Blueprint. Then it's kind of stuck there. So as soon as you make something in Blueprint, then that's where it's gonna be. One way to sort of get around this, so that you actually can call a function that runs in Blueprint, is to make... let's make a function that's called on aggro. You can declare a function as blueprint implementable event. Blueprint implementable event. And what this is, it's kind of like a virtual, right? Kind of like a virtual function, where the function is sort of declared in the base class here, but then we want it to be implemented in Blueprint. So we won't actually implement any function here, we will only declare it. So I'm just gonna declare on aggro, and then I'm not gonna make a body for it anywhere in C++. This is gonna be a function that's made to be overridden in Blueprint. This is the rules. So let's say we have some sort of on aggro function. Fucking god damn it! Silence phone. So we're gonna have an event on aggro that can be overridden in Blueprint, and I'm gonna call that from C++ whenever we aggro something. So I'm gonna go into mlactor.cpp, and whenever we get a chase target, I'm gonna call this on aggro. I'm gonna call that function. Now, there's a lot of voodoo magic going on. A lot of goats being sacrificed behind, behind the curtains in the C++, in the C++ generation land. But now this should call into whatever function, whatever blueprint this is. It was like pinning and unpinning.
Wrong button. Shut the fuck up.
So
You're too close. I'm too tired.
okay, well that's okay. Don't swear. You're on YouTube.
Oh.
Is there a way to check if it has
Ban
been
me.
implemented? Not that I know of. There probably is. I wouldn't doubt there is, but I just don't know it. But so let's see what happens. So now we have this blueprint implementable event called onAggro, and I'm calling it on this handle aggro begin overlap. Whoops. So let's see what the fuck happens. Okay, so it compiles, so that's good. So I'm gonna head into our BP ML actor here. So that's our overridden blueprint that inherits from our ML actor. I'm just gonna remove this set speed here. So now we should be able to right click and find onAggro. And there it is. Ta-da! Ta-da! Ta-da!
Yay!
So let's spawn a particle effect here. So let's spawn particle. Oops. Spawn emitter at location. This was What? Are these the only two? I thought there were like the explosions and stuff. Or the Niagara ones. No. Okay. Well, I thought it was gonna be an explosion, but these suck. Okay, never mind. Let's play a sound. Play sound. Camera shutter. Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. Because it's a camera. Dudes. It's almost like I planned this. So they will play like a camera shutter sound. Location will be actor location. So it's gonna play a camera shutter sound where the actor is. So let's see what happens. Oh, that's so sick. Can you even hear it?
No.
Oh. But it sounds fucking amazing, okay? Alright.
Only the VOD viewers get to enjoy the sound.
Yes. The VOD viewers are going crazy right now.
So those are actually paparazzis.
Yeah, it's, I mean, yeah. So, great. And then I go nuts. So this is kind of the main way that C++ will talk to, whoops. That C++ will talk to blueprints is through blueprint implementable events. I would say that's the most common way for C++ to talk to blueprints. So you would make these blueprint implementable events for when stuff happens that you deem important. And then you override those events in Blueprint to do stuff, whatever that is. Usually to play a sound or spawn a particle effect or whatever needs to be done in Blueprint.
What's the difference between like making or is there a difference between making an event this way compared to just like right-clicking and making a custom event.
Yes, because if we make a custom event, there is no way for us to call this from C++. Easily,
Right,
I
yeah.
would say.
Yeah.
So that's the main reason that this
Okay.
can be called from C++ very
Yeah.
easily.
Thanks.
So, I mean, there's no real rule here for what you should use events for. Like, it's just in general to talk to blueprints. Whatever you put in blueprint is kind of up to you, how you want to design, how you want how you want to design your systems. I can say at Hazelight, the general rule of thumb, when it is a system that lives in C++, so it's like a big system, or a small system, doesn't really matter. In general, what we did was that everything that had to do with assets, so stuff like sounds, effects, meshes, materials, blah blah blah, all of that stuff lives in blueprints. So C++ has no idea what meshes are on it. It doesn't know anything about sound. It doesn't know anything about particle effects. All of that stuff is handled in the blueprint through stuff like events or what have you. That is in general how we set systems up in at Hazelight. Now, of course, there were also systems that were written entirely in Blueprint, usually small systems. And now that you're a mentor, what is his name? I'm gonna refer to him as his name.
Sahil.
Saljin? What?
Sahil.
Sahil. Yeah. So Sahil is saying that I will fight him. We are gonna fight, me and Sahil. Because why? Okay, so the question is why? When should you write a system in Blueprint versus when should you write a system in C++? So that's kind of the big question. And it's all about the benefits and the pros and cons, right? For when to use what. Pros and cons. So for BP, blueprints, the pros of BPs are quick to get started, like it's easy to add components, easy to set up actors, easy to set up some basic functionality. It goes very fast, so it's very easy to get something going in Blueprints. Whereas in Bleep in C++, you have to kind of compile, and iteration times aren't all that fast. Another pro is very design and art friendly. So it's very easy for designers and artists to go in and add their stuff, do their work to your blueprints. So they can easily go in and just add stuff. Add particle effects and what they want to add. The cons, however, are slow. Blueprints are very slow. I don't know if there's an exact number.
What do you mean slow?
I mean slow execution-wise. Like a system written in Blueprint will just perform worse than a system written in C++. So we're talking about performance. Slow performance.
Are we talking percentages or like several times slower?
Oh, we're talking several times, like at least 10 times slower, at least. I think it was like at taste, like it's kind of there's not like just one number, like it kind of depends on what you're doing. Like the more C++ function calls you use, the faster it is, because then just the more of the code is just in C++. But as a rule of thumb, we would say it's like AnioScript, which was our kind of middle part. Like, we're not going to talk too much about AnioScript, but AnioScript was 10 times slower than C++, and then Blueprints were 10 times slower than that. So what does that make? 100 times? I don't know if that's accurate, but that's just the kind of the rule of thumb we had. Not the biggest deal in the world, I would say, for a lot of things. Like if you're just making some small systems, it doesn't really matter that it's slow. But it does come into count when you're doing something very core, like something that's going to affect a lot of things. And the biggest one, in my opinion, is refactoring. Is essentially impossible. Is very hard. So when your system grows bigger in Blueprints, suddenly having to rewrite stuff or move stuff around becomes very hard. Because you can't just copy paste blueprints over from like one, like if you're like, oh, I'm gonna move this code from this blueprint to this other blueprint, you essentially have to just rewrite it. Like there's no other way. Like it becomes so buggy. Like if you start copy pasting, like nodes will stop working, references will break, and it just becomes a mess. So refactoring and doing maintenance on blueprints is super hard.
Do you recommend like prototyping stuff in blueprints that we would want to make in C++ later, or is this a bad idea because it's hard to change things?
I wouldn't do that now. It's
Okay.
like if you're gonna prototype something that should be in C++, do it in C++. Because in the end, 9 times out of 10, your prototype will become the final version. And there's not gonna be like, okay, let's rewrite it. It's just gonna be like the prototype becomes the final. So that's why, like in a way out, for example, whenever we had to make a big change, like when our networking had to get a little bit of back surgery, Blueprints was always the thing that was the most buggy and the hardest to go in and fix. Because it was so hard to understand what's going on. If something needed like a structural change, that's like, okay, this blueprint is just set up in a way that doesn't work. It became such a huge amount of work to make it work. Essentially, just delete everything, you start over. So that's why in It Takes Two, it became sort of a rule that if you make a system in Blueprint, it must be very small and insignificant. Like tiny systems are made in Blueprints. And then we have C++. So we have pros. Fast. Of course, C++, super fast. You have access to the whole engine in C++. So access to everything. So you can make literally any type of system in C++. Doesn't matter. You can change the whole engine. You can do whatever you want. Easy to refactor. So stuff like refactoring. Refactoring. / bug fixing. Quite. I don't know if this is even readable in the slightest. Quite easy. Because you have access to, you know, the Visual Studio debugger, like you have so many more debugging tools in C++ than you have in Blueprints. And I also use the fact that it's code, so you can just move stuff around, use copy-paste code over somewhere else, break classes up into multiple classes. Like the only thing that you're actually scared of breaking is blueprints from refactoring C++. So that's like, even then blueprints can use quite break because you're factoring in C++. You have cons, of course. Compile times. Resident Sleeper. Complicated. And design and art. Can't do their job. Right. So those are kind of the pros and cons between C++ and Blueprints. So it's definitely not as easy as you're saying, like, oh, do everything in Blueprint or do everything in C++. It is kind of depends just on the system. I don't know why I went on this rant. It just kind of felt right, but now we have my take on it. So, Sahil, if you want to fight, I'm ready. I'll see you outside of school. We'll fight.
I'm betting on Sahil.
What the fuck, dude? Okay, well, you're out. I'll kick your ass too. Right, okay, so anyway. So for systems that are written in C++, this is the way that you... because that's how to get rid of that con, right? We have this huge con. Design and art can't do their job. And the way to work around that is to make these blueprint events. So that they actually can do their work. Hook up sound effects, hook up particle effects, and so on. Okay. Because the last thing a sound designer or an artist want to hear is tell me where the assets are and I'll hook them up. That's the last thing they want to hear. I'll tell you that. Maybe if it's a lazy artist. But they want to be able to just go in and do it themselves. Okay. Let's make shooting then. So I want to shoot. So let's make a new a new actor for the projectile. You know what? I'm actually fuck. Why did I shut it down? I'm actually gonna go in and remove VR Man and his projectile, just so we can kind of replace him with the newly improved stuff. So I will remove these two, my first actor and projectile. I'll just remove these two. Here we get some asset references. is referenced in this map because they're placed there. So I will just click force delete. And I will just remove them from this map. Isn't that nice? Alright. I will show you a separate way of adding files to your project that I like to do. I don't like to do, you know, going in here into C++ classes and then right-clicking a new C++ class. First of all, you can't delete anything here. Like you see, I can't delete them. I can't even rename the files. So it's like Unreal like Unity that if you're using git etc, the scene is just getting overwritten instead of merged. Yes, I don't believe you can merge. I don't believe you can merge map any Unreal assets actually. So they don't really work that well with git or Perforce either.
Why can't you delete the classes? Because I thought that was like something I did wrong when I tried to delete stuff.
I'm not too sure why you can't, honestly. They just, for some reason, decided that you can't. I'm not quite sure why. But the proper way to do it, like if you want to do these things, and that's why I don't like adding stuff here, because it's just so like stunted, like you can't really do anything. The way I like to do it is to shut down the editor, go to the project, whoops, to the source here, because that's where the C++ source lives. And here you just add files. So here I'm just gonna add like ml projectile.h and ml projectile.cpp.
So adding the files in Visual Studio ain't good either.
No, don't
Or-
add them through Visual Studio. Because it's using filters. And remember how I said how I hate filters? So if I try to add a file here, add new item. You see where it ends up? Intermediate project files. That's not nowhere near where it needs to be. It needs to be in source. So that's why you can kind of trick yourself into thinking that you're adding them in the right folder. But these are filters. They're not folders. So that's why you can kind of get tricked and you add files where you don't expect them to be added and whatnot. So I want to recommend adding files through here. Just go in and add them here. I don't know if Rider has a better, like if Rider also uses something like filters or if they have a better system, but this is also how you rename or delete files. So if you go into source, you can delete files because they're your CPP files. Like you can just remove them. And you can also rename them. So this is how you delete and remove C++ files. You just have to go and do it. The only thing you have to remember, I just did new and then use text document, but it could be anything. The only thing that's important that is to rename it to .h or .cpp. Unreal should be legal. Yeah, you do love crime, so.
Can you show me exactly where you added the files again?
So I go to the project folder,
Yeah.
source, and then FG Unreal or whatever your
Whatever the project is called, right?
Yeah, whatever the project is called, is going here and add them.
Yeah.
Unreal shouldn't be real, it should just be un. Yeah, I'm using un. That makes no sense. I love how you get this like hacker angle of Ruta when she's typing. It's just like her hands are big. It's like the fucking like hacking into the mainframe. Okay, so this is how you add files or remove files. And then the thing you have to remember to do when you do this. So when you're removing files or moving files or renaming files, you just go out, right click the .u project and hit generate Visual Studio project files. So we'll update all of these filters and shit to be correct. So I'm just gonna hit that.
Wait, so the generate Visual Studio files basically refreshes all the files in the project or all the
Yes.
C++ files?
Yes, exactly. So now we should say like, oh, it has been changed outside the environment, and you just hit reload all. There we go. So now ML projectile is here.
Is it possible to make like a folder structure using the file explorer for all your C++ files? Because I know
Yes.
you can make like a folder in Unreal, so I assume you have to do it through there instead, right?
Yes. So here we can do stuff like enemy. And move these things in there. So I made a folder called enemy and just moved our ML actor and ML projectile in there. And now if I go in and generate Visual Studio project files, it's gonna think. Reload all. Then now we have a folder here, or a filter folder enemy, and they're in there.
How does that look like in Unreal?
I'm guessing there's a folder. I would assume so. I mean, in the end, Unreal doesn't really care when it comes to when you inherit stuff or when you place actors in a level. All it knows is that there's an actor called ML actor. It doesn't care at all like where actually it is or anything like that. This assembly, why is that there? So you can move files around and everything without anything going wrong. Probably. So now we have an enemy folder here, where ML actor lives. But if you want to make a C++ character class, should we do it via Unreal? You can, if you want to. I usually don't like to do it, but it's up to you. So let's make a projectile then. So we're gonna pragma our onces for the header. This is gonna be an actor. So I'm gonna include game framework / actor.h. Shad Festis. Then we have to make class UML projectile. And it's gonna inherit from a actor. No, not UAML projectile. It's an actor. B. And there we go. What
What
have
does
I...
pragma wants to mean?
Pragma once makes it so you can... God, it's a... how do I explain it in one sentence? It's so... Short answer is so you can't include a file more than once.
How did you make this file?
Going to source, FG Unreal, wherever. I made a folder called enemy, but it doesn't matter. And this folder is because of your project name, so for me it's FG Unreal, but... And then I just made a text file. It's just text document, and then I just renamed it to whatever.cpp or whatever.h.
Oh, okay.
Wait, so this game framework thing, what exactly is game framework?
That is just a folder in Unreal source code. That's where most of the let's see if I can show this in the... That's where a lot of the game framework stuff lives, like pawn lives here, player start, player input, player controller, like this is where most of the game lives, essentially. All those classes.
So when you make a class, you should always sort of, or most of the time, include game framework. and then what you want to include. Right? Or,
Yeah. I mean, since we're inheriting from actor, that's why I'm including actor here. Because I'm inheriting from it. But if you're inheriting from player controller or character, then you would include character instead. Aha! Very, very astute of you, David. We're missing a few things here. Without looking in chat, what are we missing? Do you guys remember from the ML actor when we set that up? There's a few things we have to add to hook this up to Unreal.
Generate dead body.
Yes, generated body is one. What more?
Wasn't there another include that was like Emil actor dot generated or something like that?
Yes, exactly. ML projectile, so use the name of the header, whatever the header name is. Not the actor name. The header name. Dot generated dot h. Very good. That has to be last, by the way, in the includes. Always has to be last. If it isn't last, we'll get an error. I can show it to you. There's one more thing we have to add. And what is that?
Core minimal.h.
No. Close though. It would have been a good include to do, but since we're including actor, we'll get sort of everything we need. But yes. It is U class. Like that. We have to type U class in front of our class for this class to actually be exposed to Unreal, to the editor. So now we have U class, and yeah, let's try compiling and see what happens. Okay, so here's the error, right? Include found f after .generated.h file. The .generated.h file should always be the last include in the header. So you get a little nice error if your generated.h is not the last include. So that's good. So let's put it last. So this is builds. No, well, it's not really C++, it's Unreal, so Unreal had some nice things for you. Yeah, U class is what you put. It's kind of like a U function and U property, but for classes. So putting U class in front of this ML projectile will generate code. Like you remember in the code generation, it generates a bunch of code to like hook it up to Unreal as like a registered class that can be used in Blueprint. That's what U class does. So you have to put that in front of every class you want to be able to be exposed to Blueprint in the editor. So now we find ML projectile here in C++ classes, so that's good. And we should be able to override from it. So if I make a new Blueprint class, right-click Blueprint class, in here there should be an ML projectile, and indeed there are. So this is really the only code we need to actually make a new actor. And it doesn't matter if it was added through the C++ classes menu, where you like right-click new actor and whatnot, or if you just make a new file and you just type this in. It doesn't really matter. As long as there's code in there with a U class in it, it's gonna be exposed to the engine. It doesn't matter where that file came from. So let's override from ML projectile. So we'll do BP ML projectile. I should really name these and it's something a bit more permanent, I think.
My projectile class is not showing up. I wonder if I missed some step.
Okay, share your screen.
Let's see.
Mine's not
Which one?
either.
This one. Yeah.
That's not showing up.
Yeah.
Restart. Restart.
Restart. Okay.
Restart.
Okay. I restarted. Let's see. It's just new blueprint class, right?
Yep.
Help.
You named it email projectile, right?
No, I don't think I did. No, it's to a projectile. Oh, yeah,
No, it
over
is
there
email
I did,
projectile.
but
Yeah, I mean, in the end,
Call
the
it
name
the-
of the
okay.
header file doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what the class name is.
Oh, okay. That's a good lesson. Thank you.
Good lesson.
Yep.
So yeah, you could have a file, a header, that declares a bunch of actors that are named a bunch of different things. And then we all show up as separate actors.
Noted.
Was that the same problem for you, Gregor?
I don't know really, but the thing is, I can't see the files that I've added in cancel in the content browser, but maybe I don't need to.
In the content browser?
Yeah,
Good show.
I can't see the C++ files.
Show me. Show you.
Show me the money.
Kiko man. Kiko man.
So this is just a folder I made earlier. I don't have the
What is
C++.
up with your layout, dude?
I don't want to have to like go back and forth the whole screen, so I
Okay,
put
fair
them
enough.
beside each other.
Well, go to you have to go to next. There's a button called filters. Left of that is like a little menu button thing in your content browser. Like if you see the filters button.
Oh yeah, there.
Yeah, there, and then go to C++ classes. Yeah.
Ah, there we are.
Oh, there they are.
Right, perfect.
Sweet.
Can I add this? Show this? Oh. Oh, whatever. There they are.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I don't know. Cool.
I can't generate the what's it called, the project files, even
Oh,
if
no.
I click on the U project. I don't understand why.
Oh no. Show me. Show you.
Let's see. So I don't know if you can see this, but there's no option to generate.
Yeah, sometimes you have to click it first and then right click. So like click to highlight it and then right click. Oh no.
Yeah. Nope.
Ah, crap. Yeah, sometimes because it's like when you install Unreal, it will like register those item options for you. But it seems like in your case it just didn't do that.
Yeah.
So the easy way to do this is to go into Unreal. So open up the editor.
Let's see.
And then go to... Oh, fuck. Is it like... if you hit the button besides compile? Like this little arrow? No. Is it... where is that button? There is like a generate project files in here.
Oh, there is a button for that.
Yeah. Oh, I think there it is. If you go to file...
Let's see. File.
Yeah, there's like a refresh Visual Studio project.
This one here.
Yeah, try hitting that one.
I don't know why my computer is so wonky. It doesn't do the stuff that it should be doing.
All right, and now if you head over into Visual Studio. Yeah, there we go. Reload all.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Good.
The game is good. Okay, cool. Very cool. Let's take a break. Let's take a break. So I'll see you guys back in 10 minutes. 11:10. Yo. What's going wrong? Daniel. Daniel? Daniel!
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just trying to figure out why I'm getting a couple errors, but I'm getting closer. Still errors, but getting closer.
Okay. You want help?
Yes, please. Just give me a second. I think it's this one. I'm just thinking if I have like spelling errors or something.
Can't see your screen. Or I can't see your project, I mean.
Oh. I must have pressed the wrong button. See. Try again. Does it show up now?
Yes.
Yeah. So might think I might have not written it correctly. Generate body.
You've put the header stuff in the C++ file. The first program.
Crap.
Yes.
How do I fix it then? Is the question. Do I move it over and make a header
Yeah.
file?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Why doesn't it show up? Did I misclick?
You have to generate Visual Studio project files.
Crap. Why do I have to do so many extra steps?
It's kind of how it is.
Yeah.
Because it's so much fun.
Yeah, this is really fun. It's highly productive.
It is what it is. There's a bit of a learning curve in Unreal, yes.
I gotta say about the compiling speed, though, that it's just sometimes it takes like half a minute or something for me, but usually it's just like 5 or 10 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand quite why it's so varying the speed of it.
I think I read something about when you make changes to a header file, it will like take longer to compile. So if you just make changes in a CPP file, it won't take so long.
Yeah, it might be that when you change in the header, it has to regenerate a bunch of code. So that might be why it takes a little bit longer. Alright, save both of them. Also, you wrote ml projectile .generated.h, but you want to have the name of the header file .generated.h. In your case, it's called whatever, so it's whatever.generated.h.
Well, I'm not good with naming files, so I just call it something and another thing and.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. All right, try to compile now.
What the heck is it?
I should look up actually also. Hold on.
Okay, let's see if it works. No. Of course not. So what is it complaining about now? Let's see.
Can open include file game framework actor.h.
Framework.
Oh, framework.
Yeah.
It's framework with an R.
Yeah. I'm always afraid of. That's why I want autocomplete, because I always get the spelling mistakes. Game. No, I did change it. Framework.
Okay, is there some other file it's complaining about?
Did you restart the Unreal, Daniel?
No. Maybe I
So
need to do that.
Yeah, I don't think the code is updated. Or like,
I mean, I
don't
would
know.
be careful about hot compiling either way, like using the compile button. Like I said, it's very buggy.
Yeah, but this thing doesn't work. Not
yeah,
for
but
me.
just run it from Visual Studio instead.
Let's see.
So like close down the editor.
I'll just save everything before I close it. File. Where the fuck is the save all button? Save. This one. And now what? This button?
No, the other one, local Windows debugger.
Oh boy. Compile platform.
I mean, that's just IntelliSense shit. So just in that drop down where it says build plus IntelliSense.
Where do I find it?
It's to the right.
Oh.
Yeah, just click that. That's like build only. Yep.
See, cannot open.
Yeah, it seems like it's in some other file. So go to M, like just double click it. Yeah, this, I don't know what you were doing here, but this...
Yeah,
doesn't
maybe it's like in a different folder, so it can't find it.
No, I mean, this is some other file that you made.
Oh, okay.
Projectile.cpp.
Yeah, I think I renamed something. Oh, whatever. Let's just continue.
Okay. Well, it seems like I was looking into that issue with that right click not showing up. I'll look up if I can find some solution for you, Daniel, so you can make that work.
Yeah.
So you have the right click generate Visual Studio project files.
Yeah.
Okay. Where were we? Right. Oh yeah, so we made a projectile thingy, and I override it in Blueprint. Of course, we don't have any components. It adds a default scene root, but there's no components inherited from C++. So I'm just gonna add some components. So we'll add a root, and that's just gonna be a scene component. So call that root. Make it a U property, visible anywhere. And then we'll add a U sphere component for collision. I'll call it collision. Man, auto indent fucking with me. Okay. So I want to have these two components on my projectile. Of course, we need a constructor to actually make these happen. So I'm gonna add a constructor. so. Now our CPP file is quite barren, there's nothing in here. So I'll use the added definition for this projectile here, sorry, for this constructor. There we go. Make sure to include ml projectile.h, so we include the header the CPP file is connected to. Here, useSphere component isn't defined, so I'm just gonna forward declare that one. You will sometimes see if you're scouring through the source code of Unreal. Sometimes you'll see something like this, where it says class useSphere component pointer collision or something. This is also a forward declaration. So here they're also forward declaring useSphere component. It's just that they're forward declaring it in the actual property specifier, which I don't like. I think it's quite confusing to look at. Hold on. But writing this, like class useSphere component pointer collision, is exactly the same as just doing this. Forward declaring it here and then using it as a pointer down here. It's exactly the same as just writing class. So if you see this class and then a pointer, that means they use forward declaring it. They use like doing it all over the place instead of just in one place. If you had multiple ones, would you need the class keyword every time? No, only once. So if it's been forward declared once anywhere, then it's forward declared. Where's my water? What the hell? Sorry about that. Alright, so now we have a constructor. So now we can add these components to us. So I'm gonna make root is equal to create default subobject uScene component. I'll call it root. We'll specify that as our root component. I will do that by just assigning it to root component. Root component is an actor variable, by the way. We didn't make this variable. It's a variable in actor. Then I'll make the collision. So I'll do create default subobject uSphere component. Sphere. I'll just call it collision. This name here is just for the editor. What it will show up as the name of this component here. Of course, to create the default subobject, we actually need to include this. So forward declaration won't be enough here. So we'll have to include it, and that's in components sphere component, I believe. And then we'll make sure that that's, so we'll do setup, setup attachments, attach that to the root.
I read what the arrow thing means as opposed to a dot there, but I don't remember, and I'm not sure I quite got it. What would you say about that?
So this is a pointer. USphere component is a pointer, right? Which means that we want to call this setup attachment on the object that the pointer is pointing to. So first we have to dereference the pointer. So if we pretend that the arrow doesn't exist, first we would have to dereference the pointer to actually get the object we want to call the function on, instead of just doing it on the pointer, because the pointer itself is an address, right? It doesn't have any variables or functions on it. It's just an integer essentially. So first we have to dereference it just to get the object to call the function, and then we will call the function.
So it's instead of that.
Yes. So then the C++ or C committee thought this looked super bad and annoying, so they added the arrow to just be a shorthand of the same thing. So these two statements are exactly the same. Could we create the component directly when we assign it to root component instead of using the root variable? We could, yeah. We could.
I have a question.
Shoot, your question.
Pang. No, how do you forward declare a class called USphere collision and make that work as USphere component?
Oh,
Oh, you don't.
I don't know. That's weird. I have no idea what happened there.
Okay, cool. I was just, I was like, oh.
Yeah,
shit.
that was weird. Sorry. I'm guessing USphere. I mean, I didn't try to compile, so I'm guessing it wouldn't have. Let's just try it. So I'm just gonna quit and then try to run. Yeah, so I get a bunch of errors, right? Yeah, so you're completely right. I forwarded declared with the wrong name. So of course this has to be sphere components.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So now if we look in our BP class, our BP ML projectile. Well, we get this because we didn't add anything, so I'm just gonna do open full blueprint editor. Ah, perfect. So now we have root and a collision. Perfect. So now I will add a mesh to this. So that's sphere. I'll just do that in blueprints. We don't really have to do that in C++. I'll just do it in the blueprint. I'll size it down a little bit. Maybe I should just size up the collision. This is something that's okay to do in blueprints as well. So just add the sphere collision and then define actually what the radius should be in blueprints. That's totally fine. Then the designers can go in and actually decide how big they want the bullet to be. Or you. And then, you know, you could change it together with the designers. So that's totally fine. I'll use that little bullet. I'll make it slightly smaller, just so we can see the collision there.
Wait, how did we make it into a blueprint again?
Right click, just somewhere in the content browser, right click, blueprint class.
Oh.
And then
yes.
search for it in the list.
Did you add the sphere there inside the collision?
Yes.
I mean here in blueprints.
Yes, in blueprints. So a general rule of thumb, anything visible, anything that's visual or in any way is not functionality related, I usually add in blueprints.
But you usually make like collision and stuff. Add that from CPP.
Yes. So anything that's related to functionality, how it's supposed to like hit a player and stuff like that. All of that stuff I do in C++. But then everything that's like add a mesh, add particles, add sound, I just do in Blueprints.
You mean like the visual aspect of things then?
Yes. Audiovisual stuff. Because that's the artist job, or the artist area, right? And you don't want the artist to have to go into C++ to change the mesh or anything like that. Some bullshit. You just wanted them to be able to go into the blueprint and add whatever they want. Excuse me. All right. So let's start shooting then. So oh dear. So in our ML actor, when we're chasing something, I want to shoot a projectile. All right. So let's see here. So let's make a timer. We could set up a timer actually. In can we do this? Around. Timer. I've never used this. Set timer. This is fucking scary. I'm not gonna use this. I don't want to use the timer manager. I'm gonna do it easy, nice and dirty. I'm just gonna make a float to be like the shoot timer. So we'll just have a floating point that we use manually. So just when we're chasing something, decrease timer and shoot. We're just gonna do shoot timer minus equals delta time, and if shoot timer is less than 0, then we shoot. Pow. Fire. And then we'll add that code later, but we'll just do shoot timer is equal to 0.5. So reset the timer. Simple manual timer. Nothing very interesting there. Kinda like we did with STL. Alright, so then we want to spawn a projectile. So the way we spawned in Blueprints, what with the spawn actor thing, in C++ we call this here. So we do get world. I mean the timer works. It's just like I'm not quite sure how you set up with the delegates and stuff, and I don't want to figure that out right now. But yeah, feel free to explore that. It's probably good. So we have get world, and then on the world we want to spawn an actor. So there's a bunch of different types. So here we have one with only spawn parameters. Here we have with an U class and a transform. And so on. Here's one that looks good. Yeah, this version looks good. So yeah, it's a templated one. So we provide a template of the actor we want to spawn. Provide a location, rotation as parameters. And then we have this additional spawn parameters here that's defaulted to something. That's some of the additional parameters we can provide. We won't really care about this. What we care about is the type, so we can provide which actor actually to spawn. We care about the location, and we do care about the rotation. So that's great. So let's use this version. So location will just be get actor location. And rotation will just be get actor rotation. And then we have to provide a template, and that's gonna be AML projectile then. And of course, to use this class name, we have to include it. So I'm just gonna include here ML projectile.h. Whatever you call your header. So there we go.
So this is how you handle sort of references between actors. You do the include on the header basically, or
yeah, you include the header,
whatever.
just like anything else, just like normal C++ stuff.
Okay.
You want to try to do it in the CPP file and not in the header file, like not include the ML projectile here unless you really have to avoid like circular inclusion and stuff like that. Now we could, this returns a pointer to the actor we spawned. So if you wanted to save it for some reason to use it later, we could do that. But right now we don't care that we get a pointer back. We just want to spawn it and then forget about it. Just let it do its own thing. Alright, so now we should be spawning projectiles. Let's see if this works. Okay, thanks, Epic Game Store.
If you like press play through Visual Studio, is it safe to just do Control Shift F5 and restart?
Yep, no problem.
Nice.
You just have to worry about if you saved stuff.
Right.
Alright, so let's see what happens. So I'll aggro this guy. And nothing seems to be happening. I don't see any projectiles. So, well, I can see that these actors, you see this, like how many actors are in the scene? That's actually going up. See that? It's just counting up. If I scroll down here, we can actually see that there are a bunch of projectiles being added. So it definitely is spawning. And if I eject, so I'm ejecting from the game. F8 is the default key binding for ejecting, by the way, if you don't want to shift F1. We can see that they're here. So here are the projectiles. However, there's no mesh, right? It's only root and collision. And that's the problem. Because we're actually spawning the C++ version of the class. So if you just provide a template and nothing else, like we did here, it will just spawn, you know, the C++ version of this. That's it. Of course, we've overridden this version in blueprints, so we have a blueprint version of the class. It's just that we're not using it right now. We're not using this version. We're using the C++ version only. Which sucks, because in blueprints we've done a bunch of cool stuff. We've added meshes, you know, we'll add like all the kinds of particle effects and whatnot. It's gonna look real neat. So of course we want to spawn this version. This is the version we want to spawn. So how do we do that? Well, this is kind of where references come into play. Like, how do you reference a blueprint class? in C++. And unfortunately, there's no way to just type it out. Like, we can't just type, like, you know, BP ML projectile or anything like that. Unfortunately. What we need to do is that I'm actually gonna make a variable of type T subclass of a ML projectile. Projectile class. Yeah, it's kind of like Unity, like how you reference prefabs with game objects and so on. So I'll make a property on our ML actor, a property to a class of a ML projectile. So I will make this U property. I'll make it edit defaults only. Because we don't want to be able to change projectile in between each actor, like in the level. We want to be like, oh, you shoot this projectile and you shoot that projectile. Actually, maybe we do. I don't know. If you want to do that, then choose edit anywhere. If you want to make multiple projectiles, you know, what am I, your boss? No, I'm not. But I'm gonna make it edit defaults only. So we set it once on, you know, the blueprint version of this AML actor, and then it's gonna be set for everything. Oh, very nice. Oh, it wasn't actually that hard then. Thanks, Alex. Alright. And to make the T subclass of, I'm just gonna forward declare this AML projectile, because it's not included in the header, right? AML projectile. So I'm just gonna forward declare it here. So we're forward declaring it here, just so we can make a T subclass of here. Alright. So now that we have this class that we can set from blueprints, in the spawn actor, I'm just going to provide this as an argument. So we're not going to use this version of the function. Instead, I want to use this one. Wait. Here's the good one. I'm going to use this version. So spawn actor T. And then we provide a U class as the first parameter. And a U class is Unreal's reflection thingies, right? So U class is a structure that is like the reflection stuff for one class in the engine. Could be a C++ class, could be a blueprint class, doesn't matter. Every single class in the engine, no matter where it's defined, has a U class specified as like the reflection code. So that's, if we have the U class, we can get stuff like the functions, we can get all the properties, like we can get anything we need. So that's the reflection class for all classes. Reflection class, this is the reflection, whatever. Reflection object, I'll say that. So now we can provide, okay, spawn the actor, and this T here is actually only used for the return value. As we saw here, there is a version without the T that just returns an actor. So this is just like the generic function where it only uses the U class. Fuck. Yeah, so here's the generic version. We don't provide a T, so the return value will just be a actor. We can use this version just to make it a little bit more explicit. So we provide a templated T, so it will return a pointer to T. But it doesn't really matter. So we're gonna provide this U class, and luckily all we need to do is just provide this projectile class. Like this will cast implicitly to a U class. So all we need to do is just provide projectile class there. Like we don't have to get the U class or anything, it will figure that out. So now, instead of spawning just the C++ version of a ML projectile, it will spawn whatever type this projectile class is pointing to. So that's the class it will use to spawn. It still has to be a subclass of this AML projectile. So we'll actually do some checking to make sure that, okay, is the class you provided, does that actually inherit from AML projectile? But other than that, it will just be any class that we've defined anywhere. Could be a C++ class, could be a blueprint class, doesn't matter. Just any class that inherits from AML projectile. So now if I go to ML actor and class defaults, because that's, remember I made this edit defaults only. So if I go to ML actor class defaults, here we have a projectile class property that I can change. So if I use this drop down, I will find all classes that are or inherit from ML projectile. So I can select the C++ version, use like the base class. But we want to select the BP version. That's the one I want to spawn. That's the one I want to use.
Did you change anything else than adding the projectile class, comma?
I also... Oh, yeah, no. Not in the spawn actor, no.
I'm getting a red squiggly line, like there's no such...
Yeah, Rider doesn't accept it with only 3.
Yeah, I
things.
have the same issue.
Try compiling.
Do you still have the template in front of the parentheses? I didn't, and that's when it didn't work.
The AML projectile, the one in the square.
Yeah, in the arrow.
Yeah, in the angle brackets you need this
Yeah.
one. I think the generic version that doesn't use a template, you need to provide pointers to location and rotation. I don't know why. I think it's because they're optional.
Can I ask a question meanwhile?
Yep.
So basically, if I've understood this correct, T subclass of yada yada yada, that basically gets what inherits from that specific class. And for example, we have the blueprint that inherits from the class which is provided.
Yes.
So you can put anything there and get what's inherited from that thing, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you do like T subclass of a actor, you'll get like a bunch of different classes that you can select from. Like anything that inherits from actor. So that would include the projectile, for example.
Okay.
So yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. Is T subclass of a template? Yes. Yes, it is. That's why it's called T subclass of, because it's a templated class. And not the F subclass of.
And Niklas, I think it was. Did you get it working in Rider?
I didn't get it to work yet.
Doesn't want to do with only 3 arguments. So what would we do if we wanted to do the version with the where we like save it first?
Well, can you screenshot the Can you screenshot the error you have? Screenshot the code.
It just says like no viable function.
Yeah, screenshots the spawn actor function you're calling.
I tried removing the angle brackets part.
What does that T-sub class off look like?
What?
What
Oh,
is-
here.
Yeah, what does the T-sub class off look like? Like your property.
I have it exactly the same as you.
Oh, I have T asset subclass.
Are you going to upload this on Canvas, your code?
Oh, there it is.
I can upload my code, yeah.
Yeah, I need to study it.
Also, you haven't for declared Emerald Projectile here. That might be the issue as well.
Yeah, okay. I think Rider automatically included made an include here instead.
Oh, really?
What's the difference there?
Well, the problem with including in the header is that you might get, first of all, a circular inclusion, and also the compile times will be longer. So,
Okay. So now it seems it worked. Maybe I'll change that later then.
okay.
I gotta change it.
How about you? Now I don't remember your name. I'm sorry, but how's it going for you? The other person who had a problem. Sorry, I don't remember your name.
Niklas, did you
Niklas.
get it?
Yes.
What?
Did you make it work?
No.
Did you
Okay.
see what I had done wrong? In the declaration, in the header file, I had T asset subclass of instead of T subclass of. Maybe you got this same thing.
I actually have the T subclass off.
Show you share your screen.
Okay.
Ok.
How do I do it? Share content.
Yeah, it's like the arrow.
Okay, so here's my projectile class,
Yeah. Did you forward declare?
and it's here.
Yeah, you did forward declare it.
Yes.
And the error is the same, huh? So if you hover over the squigglies.
It says no viable function for some reason. I'm
And if you
also
run, like it doesn't run. I'm guessing if you just run it.
Let's try.
Yeah, okay.
So it's almost like it would want something more here. But I don't know what.
Shouldn't that be rotation on the third parameter?
Oh yeah, it should be, yeah. Get that to rotation. Good catch.
Damn, son.
Damn, son. Damn, Daniel.
We have
So now
this old people problems.
so now I didn't spot it either. So now it should work.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Well, it's almost lunch, but let's just make sure it works. So I'm just gonna restart. So when I walk over these dudes, then there we go. Now they're actually spawning a projectile that we can see.
You're not sharing your screen.
Fuck. Sorry. Okay. So now, when I run the game, whoops. Now we're actually seeing the spheres. So it's spawning the BP version. So that's good. They're huge. Cool. Right. So that's how you reference classes. Like BP classes. Oh god. Oh dear. Oh god. So that's how you reference BP classes, blueprint classes in C++. You make the T subclass of. So this is a very common design, super common design pattern to make a T subclass of you make it like a C++ base class, and then to reference the BP version, you make a T subclass of. It's very common, used in all kinds of places. So this is how you...
so you did it in a blueprint something as well, right?
Oh yeah, yes, I can show it again. So in the ML actor here, in class defaults, you should have a projectile class property here that you can set. So then you set that to the BP version of our actor.
Nice.
Very neat. So yes, like someone said, it's
Very
exactly
nice.
like if you want to reference a prefab in Unity, you make like a game object property, or game object field, sorry, and then you drag the prefab into that property, like in the on the component. So it's kind of the same thing, really.
But we have to sort of select it in the projectile class there on the right side there. Otherwise, it won't work, right?
Yeah, if we have none here, then I'm thinking it's gonna error. Maybe crash. No, it seems like you just get errors. No, it actually doesn't even do anything. Oh, well, here it is. Warning, spawn actor failed because no class was specified. So we get some warnings here in the output log.
Yeah, so it's basically just a null ref because it's nothing
Yes.
specified.
Exactly. We're not referencing any class. Cool. Great. So let's take lunch. Enjoy it. You will enjoy it, or I'll know. I'll know if you had a subpar lunch. And I'll make it better. So, take lunch, think about your life, and then we'll continue on at 1 o'clock. Okay. So see you soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye.